It is Thursday, the 1st of January, 2026. And I'm doing video blog on YouTube about Abba again, this stupid home health thing. I thought I was done with this. I thought I said goodbye, good luck, and we're finished. When I called on the 26th, I did not ask them to arrest this woman who stole $20 from me. I did not. Because I have to presume you need to be in a level of poverty to steal $20 from someone who lives in disabled housing. And I was thinking, if the police arrest her, she's not going to have less poverty. All right, let's just face it. That's the real truth. All I wanted was reimbursement. Well, after sleeping on it for a couple of days, I looked through my invoices because that Monica secretary had said you can't prove that to literally everything I said. From Walmart.com, I ordered Tide detergent on October 31, and it never gets opened because the laundry from November never got touched. My proof that it never got touched apparently is their own other worker who replaced that woman on the 8th of December when there's 5 loads of laundry here. There's no way that that soap got used. Okay. So when Monica is saying you can't prove you even had the soap, I'm like, really? Because don't I buy everything online? Like, don't they email you and stuff? You know? But anyway, it's been a few days since I talked to their CEO. And this woman, the CEO, she stated in her call that I had that she believed me, which I thought was remarkable because she never offered to reimburse me the $20. She also, I texted her a picture of the tub. My December lady that got here on the 8th of December never did clean the bathroom. So thank you for doing the laundry that should have been done in November, but why don't you do the tub while the dryer is running? Like, they're billing Medicare for a set of lists of things. One is washing floors, one is cleaning the kitchen, taking out trash, laundry, and bathroom. That's really the list. Like, that is the same list I would have followed when I was 11 and my mother had me do chores after school. So, like, here in the United States, because of how old I am, I'm Generation X. My whole generation had this list after school, which I think is why it's hard for anybody in my generation to look straight in the eye of somebody who's 40 and thinks that bathrooms are not part of the chores, or someone who's 30 and thinks that laundry is not part of the chores. So I probably sound like a Karen sometimes. Karen, even though I know real Karens that are nice ladies, that they have that name. But that's the word I guess we're using this year for that. But no matter how bad I sound when I say it, just imagine if it was you. If you had a cavity and you're trying to get a dentist to pull your tooth, but he can't because on Medicare it's already been pulled. But then you're going to look, where's this dentist that already pulled it, and why did he bill me if he didn't do it? And Medicare can't cover it because it's already been done. This is the situation you get. And so I took a picture of the tub that they think they did, that they billed my Medicare for. And I did email this to a local newspaper with a short paragraph about what's going on. I don't have a lot of patience in the world, but I do have the intelligence to know what you would call that. What would you call that? I don't call that having been cleaned in December. I personally had a hernia. Usually, when the aides kind of bump around and do nothing, I just wait till they leave and finish up after they go. The beginning of December was different because in the middle of November, I got a hernia. And the shortest term that they could give me was December 9th for the surgery. And I had been directly told, do not lift anything, do not bend. You wouldn't even sit in your couch and lean forward real far like you're doing lunges or something. So to bend and actually wipe the tub yourself, it would have possibly made my hernia worse and been very painful. But I already have arthritis, and I know this already. And many people with arthritis take morphine or some other painkiller and they go to work. I know nurses that have arthritis, but they take a pill every morning. I can't take a painkiller every day. And I've had people ostracize me. Well, you're just too lazy to take a painkiller and go back to work. No, because when I take prescription painkillers, I'm a fruitcake. And I don't think that I'm allergic to painkillers. I think that I'm already on Invega, which is for schizoaffective disorder. So normally that doesn't impair your life. Even with Invega, I still had jobs my whole life since age 14. It wasn't the Invega that prevented me from working, it was the arthritis. I don't have a study that I can show that doctors have studied this, but in my experience, when I take prescription painkillers, I feel that it does something to my Invega because I always end up a fruitcake. And I don't know how to explain that in better words. I know it's not very politically correct, but everybody who has seen me on a painkiller and already knew that I was on Invega has all figured this out a long time ago. So this is why when people ask me, why don't you just take a painkiller and do your chores yourself? Well, I would love to, but I would be a Looney Tune and probably be put in a group home within a month. And it's not because I'm lazy. It's not because I'm afraid of drugs or anything. It's just that any strong painkillers do this. So I'm like at their mercy to do their job. I'm totally at their mercy. So I texted that picture to the CEO on Monday after we had hung up. On Tuesday, I slept on it for a while just to make sure I was appropriate when I talk to her. I don't like to cuss people out. I try very, very hard, no matter how mad I get. If it's a professional conversation, I try to keep it within the context of the conversation. So I called her Tuesday and I said, did you see the picture that I sent you? She said, yes. And I said, not for nothing, but I wrote 6 books where I evaluate more than 50 cases of criminals who pled insanity in court and the doctors who released them from hospitals shortly before they murdered somebody, or doctors who said they didn't need medication months before they killed somebody. I said, I have a whole plethora of cases like this. None of my books is about one person. I have 10 books, but 6 of them are about psychology. I said, you didn't think that a woman who spends all day doing nothing but researching where mental health treatment fails and could be improved, you didn't think that that woman was going to be the one that wouldn't see her own services fail and not offer ways to improve it. Like, I'm the Karen because I'm saying, hey, improve this. But I don't look at it as being a complainer. I look at it as like, if you see someone trying to make one person's piece of meatloaf at a time in a coffee mug in the oven, what you'll say to them is, here is your baking pan. Make the whole meatloaf at once. It takes less time. I don't feel that I'm being a Karen. I feel like, I'm seeing them needing a suggestion. And every suggestion you give, the answer is automatically, well, I'm listening to you, but I just want to let you know, I don't talk to any of them. Every caseworker that works at that agency, every nurse that works there, every office personnel, every person who answers the phone, they'll say, yes, I am listening to, and I totally understand. But I just want you to know I have no communication with that department. And I'm like, well, can you transfer me to that department? And it's literally the same thing. You are talking into a wind tunnel over there. Now, Tuesday was my last communication with this woman. On the one hand, she said I could get my own girl and they will be glad to hire her. On the other hand, she asked if my family will do my laundry. And I said my sister is a business owner and has no time, and that my brother is working for the police. When the word police came out of my face, you could almost hear her heart break over the phone. She was like, oh shit. You know, he's not a cop. My brother is not a cop. He works for the police, but not as a cop. So, um, he's actually a sobriety counselor. When they pick up homeless man because homeless man stole some Cheerios, they have to decide, is he dangerous or does he just need a shelter? Should he go to rehab? That's where my brother comes in. So, I try very hard to explain to these people their biggest problem isn't my brother. Their biggest problem is that I already have been exposing places in recent history where, somebody gets released from a hospital in New York. This is a real case. And went to Maine and shot out a bowling alley and a bar in the same day. Now, when you find out stuff like this, you're like, okay, so he was looking for help and they refused? And I can't change the government. Nobody can do that. I don't have, the magical way to get them to care about this. But I can document what the experience is of my lifetime for the future, that 100 years from now, everything I wrote that happened in my lifetime will be history books. I don't expect to see $1 million out of this, but I'm hoping that my great-grandchildren will get huge royalty benefits when those become history books. In the meanwhile, if I have a hobby of exposing where doctors frick the whole thing up, why would a health agency frick the whole thing up at my house in front of my eyes? You know, it's January 1st. I said goodbye to Abba already. I thought that was part of last year's problem. But it's been 2 days since I spoke to her, and I have yet to receive any text or any call regarding, we will send someone to clean your tub, or here is your $20. She did suggest that I gave the 20 to that original aide, and she was going to go to the store for me. And I rejected that offer because the secretary on the phone did not say that 20 days ago. Instead, they said I was shopping and couldn't prove I was in the hospital. So if there really was a 20 in her purse that I gave her, and I magically forgot because I bonked my head that day on the cabinet and didn't remember bonking my head, the 20 would still be in her purse, and she would have admitted that on the 6th. So The last thing the CEO told me was that she was having meetings for the entire first week of January, and that she would call me once those meetings had ended. This is after she has already seen the picture of the tub. They believe that my mother wouldn't whoop my butt for taking a shower in that tub for a whole week. They believe that I come from some family that likes dirty bathtubs for a week. And it's only more evident that it does not hurt her feelings that her aides never cleaned it last week or the week before, because they're not doing it this week either. And so if my needs were a priority to her, she would have at least sent someone who doesn't steal to clean the damn tub. That she would have done. So we have that. But we also have the internet, so we can also tell every best friend I ever had, and they can tell their best friend, and they can tell their best friend. And the worst I will ever do is tell on you. But in the world of Yelp and reviews and everything, I have no regret about being a little tattletale.